that's interesting. You think the public perception would be, the public grade for you would be higher than your own grade?
I think so. But why don't you go out and survey people?
Maybe I should.
Yeah, and you can survey the alderman. You can ask the alderman. Depends if they like me or not, or if they voted for me or not.
Find out.
Yeah, if they didn't vote for me, who knows? Maybe you should ask them. Did you vote for Jim, and what was the grade? What grade would you give him? And then the ones that voted against me, what grade would they give me? That'd be interesting.
You're just proving you should be doing my job. The more I'm spending time with you, the more I'm thinking, man, you should be doing what I'm doing.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should trade for a day. That'd be good.
Well, you were hitting on what I wanted to ask you next. That, you've been taking up a lot. Hunter Lake, I mean, the rail consolidation project is something that I know is very high on your priority list. The sewers is something that has come up quite a bit. Those three things in particular, very big projects,
right? Very
expensive projects.
And those, those are, that's what's important for Springfield. We have to really grapple with those tough issues. The other side of it is the stability of CWLP. So there are big issues, in the police department, not only with community policing. I view it within the police department, but through all city government, we're going to look at the operations, especially during budget time, is how can we be more efficient? And that'd be the time to actually restructure departments if we want to restructure them to make them, make sure that we're as efficient as possible. But those are large tasks. Railroad consolidation, that's probably one of the largest items I've met on, is with regards to railroad consolidation. It can be probably the most frustrating because you're trying to provide a solution when you have no control. And that's the difficulty, is you're trying to bring groups together, entities, in this case, a lot of government entities together towards a common goal where there may be different goals for themselves. And so what you need to do is, show them the way that would be beneficial, where we all can have a win-win. And what I don't want happening, and I think that's what you see played out in not by the media, but by us, the different players within rail consolidation. You have some individuals or some entities pushing for 3rd Street, and we're pushing for 10th Street. And so, our fear is if 3rd Street goes through, 10th Street's not going to happen. So, I've had frank conversations where, I want a win-win situation. I don't want a win for 3rd Street and nothing for 10th Street, because that's not going to happen. That's going to end up being a loss for everybody. So I'm a firm believer in finding solutions that provide what's best for Springfield moving forward, but also, it's not at the detriment of others.
What is that compromise, do you believe?
Well, that's where we're still trying to work through. And it's getting, with the funding for 3rd Street, they have parameters that need to be put in place by 2017. So as that timeline ticks down, that's when the pressure cooker, if you will start heating up. It's similar to what the state's facing with their budget. When you have that timeline, that's when the parties will be more active or proactive to find a solution. And I think there's gaining momentum with regards to coming with a compromise, but we're still a ways from that.
Alderman McMiniman had said in a city council meeting, it was in regards to Hunter Lake, that he thought that the city needed to be careful to live within its means. Do you believe with the projects that we talked about that the city has bitten off more than it can chew?
No, because we haven't allocated funds for any of the projects. My budget will be forthcoming in next year. And so with regards to that, what we need to do is balance the budget. I'm a firm believer in that, coming from my banking background. But also as treasurer, I always balance my budget, actually returning funds to the corporate fund. And that it was especially true during the downturn when we had furlough days and layoffs, things of that nature. So, I'm a true believer in living within your means. And what we need to do is make sure that we provide for the future for Springfield. And so Hunter Lake, for instance, we should have done that a long time ago, but we haven't. So the cost has gone up exponentially. It's just like the sewers and the streets. It's been ignored for too long. And so the costs for those projects have risen exponentially. So we can't ignore those, especially with the water situation. All you have to do is look at Colorado. They just had an issue with their water supply that's impacting across state lines. And so we want to make sure that we're providing for the future for Springfield and do it as best as we can. And, that's Hunter Lake is top of my priority list, but living within our means is top of, within our priority list as well.
You've been talking about the budget and how you want to restructure it when it's budget season next year, right?
As far as the different departments, when we come together, we'll see how we can make sure that we're operating efficiently. Public Works comes to mind because I've had conversations with Director Mahoney, and what we want to make sure is we're serving the businesses as efficiently as possible with regards to permits, and same with neighborhood issues. And right now it's building and zoning kind of lumped together. What we want to do is make sure that we take care of the neighbors as best as possible and the businesses. It's two distinct customer base, but that's what we want to make sure of it. Structurally, we have it where we can better serve both sides of that. That's just one example. But on the police side, I'm meeting with the staff, management staff right now and others to just get feedback on how things are going with regards to not only today, but in the past, what's worked well, what hasn't worked so well. And we're going to take a look at police operations and all operations within the city to make sure that the right people are in the right spots and we're structured how we should be to best serve the public.
Talking about policing, how do you think that your community policing push has been going so far, and what would you like to see in the future with it?
Well, we've just gotten started, with the selection of the police chief and the police forums. That's just the initial start. But as far as really community policing initiatives, we're still in the planning stages. Right now, I'm meeting with the top level of management within the police department. I still have a few of those interviews to do. And that the level I'm looking at is lieutenant and above, because I want to get to know the command staff of the department, and then because they're the ones that really carry out the philosophy of community policing within the police department. But the ones that will also have a great part of it is each and every officer. So that's going to be a work in progress moving forward.
What exactly are you expecting from those lieutenants and up?
Well, what we need to take a look at is just the command structure in itself. What's unusual, with mayor, a lot of people don't realize there's exempt positions and non-exempt positions. So within the police command staff, there's exempt positions where you can move individuals around and not, you don't have to do an application process. So that's different from the non-exempt where you have to post the position and people have to apply. So we can do some maneuvering and make sure that people are in the right spots. I'm going to work with the chief in making sure that the ones that have that firm belief in community policing that will carry out that philosophy will be put in place.
Would you mind